Hey, hoping everyone is good, hoping everyone is well. I was sitting there thinking after a long weekend how rest really is a renewing of not only like the mental capacity, spiritually, and the physical aspect of, and how we've been programmed to feel that rest is a luxury or something that we should earn. So I was thinking about the dynamics and how the world is kind of made up, how we've been programmed to think that you got to work a certain amount of hours in order to gain rest, that you have to work a certain amount of hours to gain vacation time. Even thinking of the process of having to ask someone, can I get a day off? Even if that day means I do absolutely nothing, or it's an important date or something coming up, and now I gotta go to someone higher up and request my day off. And though I understand in the corporate sense, in a business aspect, that the ask is what is protocol based on the fact that, we all have to fill a position in work. I also thought about it on the other end of that. I've been an entrepreneur for 16 years. God has truly kept my business. And because I've been doing it for 16 years, I know how to kind of move financial wise. And I also take my time of rest. Rest was not a priority whenever I began into entrepreneurship. I think when you first go in, the one thing that you really want to do is hone in on whatever you're doing and make yourself available. And so what seems to happen is, because you want to make yourself available, you forget about yourself and your needs. And I realized really quickly that I was becoming burnt out very fast. But I'm also a person too that just believes keep moving, keep going, be resilient regardless of what, until I just really crashed out, like literally crashed out. And introducing rest for me, I felt like I was being lazy because, again, this was something new for me. But then when I started to really implement rest in my schedule, my work schedule, my everyday life schedule, when I say that the clarity that came from all of this was just astronomical. And I also was able to tap into some things that I know that I wouldn't have done if I had to punch a clock, a 9 to 5, right? So in a practical worldview and world sense, most people do work shifts and they have to clock in. And so implementing rest, whatever that looks like for you, is so essential. Meaning that if I know I work Monday through Friday, I'm going to take Saturday and Sunday to really be intentional about what it is that I have to do. And sometimes it's very difficult when you are a parent because you're moving between your children, whatever you got going on, you got things at the house, you got responsibilities, and there is not enough nuggets of space or opportunity to get the rest. But I want to just maybe alter your brain in the way of thinking about rest. Sometimes rest is really just physical rest, like taking a nap, lying down, just recentering yourself and just coming back to who you are, not thinking about work, not thinking about outside ordeals with family, friends, just really recentering your life to come back into you. So rest could really look like, I'm going to get up at 8:30 a.m., before everybody else gets up. I'm just going to say on the weekend. And I'm going to just spend some time outside. I'm going to sit in the grass. I'm going to do some grounding. I'm going to stand there. I'm just going to feel whatever it is I'm going to feel. That can be rest. Or, I am going to just go walking. That's restful ease as far as your mind and your body. Like physically, your body is moving, but you're doing something outside of what you would regularly do that is deeming necessary for just a space for you to be open, to feel calm, and to have some resolution. And what was days before chaotic, a whole mess, a lot of movement of gestures that you really didn't want to have in the first place. Rest could look like, every Saturday I clean up my home, but for today, I'm going to let it be what it is. I'm not going to pick up a rag. I'm not gonna do any work. I'm not gonna wash the clothes. I'm just gonna sit here right now, and if I want to do absolutely nothing, that's what I'm gonna do. For parents, one of the things I think we don't take advantage of, regardless of how old your children are now, babies is different, and if you are one who lives, you might be a single parent and you have children. I know this can be very difficult, but if you have a little bit more older children who can kind of put their attention elsewhere, you don't have to have full on contact and on having to be there with them all of the time. One of the things that I introduced into my life in parenting was mama need about an hour or a half. Mama need about 2 hours by herself. And so introducing that opened up so much for me, because if we don't teach our children that yes, we deserve boundaries as well, like we deserve a little bit of space, they don't know. I always make this joke, right? And as moms amongst ourselves, and I know dads can attest to this as well. I know every parent has had this where they go to the bathroom, and it's like, oh, you really got to go to the bathroom, but that's your like moment of rest, and you got your child knocking on the door like, mommy, daddy, I need this, or they'll even come to the door and ask you like a crazy question or just want to talk, and it's like the bathroom was the rest time. And so again, like my children would walk in my room and not even like think twice. It was just like an open door, even if it was closed. I remember having a conversation with my kids, and I was just like, what happened was I went to a retreat that was local, and the lady did, some meditation. And so she was kind of giving us some nuggets. It was for women, and she was kind of giving us some nuggets about how to communicate with our children about rest and time for ourselves. And so the valuable information that she gave that I took home was she set up this thing with her children that from 7 to 8, mama needed rest. So from 7 to 8, they couldn't bother her. So that was an opportunity to do what she needed to do, whatever it is that she wanted to do. If she wanted to jump up and down 20 times from 7 to 8, she could. Whatever she decided to do within that time, the children could not come in. They couldn't talk to her. They couldn't do anything. And so I said, okay, this is something that I want to implement in my life when it comes to my children. So I remember discussing this with my kids. I was like, yo, mama need about an hour and a half. So from this time to this time, you got me before all of this time, right? So if I establish from 7:30 to 9 o'clock, mama cannot be disturbed. So all questions, anything you need to ask, anything you need me to do, you must do it before 7:30, because after, I'm not answering, none of that, unless it's like a dire emergency. And when I explained that to my kids, I was like, okay, cool. They didn't have a problem with it. Nobody got upset. It was so easy, and they respected it. And what I learned was I would get so upset because they would, what I felt like, enter into my territory or talk to me like I had 3 kids talking at me, talking to me at the same time. And I'm like, yo, I can't even process all of this. But all it took was for me to just be open and say, hey, mama need a little bit of space. And they granted me that space. Most times what we don't do is communicate what we want and need. People don't know what it is that we require if we don't communicate it. And it's the same thing with a spouse or a significant other. Listen, sometimes you love that person dearly, but maybe there are moments where you just need to kind of be separated from that person because you need to come back into you. Setting that standard, setting that space, setting that boundary, I think enhances the relationship that you have. Again, whether it is, your children, a friend, a spouse, and a significant other. Because when you think about what rest means, rest is, it's kind of denoted to be a singular thing, something that we do. Rest for me. Because the rest that I take can't be for me and you. It has to be for me. It's an individual thing. So whatever rest looks like for you, I want you to implement this into your newfound journey into life. I'm going to go back to what I said in the beginning, how it is that we are programmed to feel that rest has to be a luxury. Like, I got to work this many hours. I have to do this many things. I have to check off all these things on a list of whatever. And then after everything is done, I get to rest. But do you really get to rest? Because on the back end, you're still thinking and imagining things that you need to do. You still have to make yourself available for him, her, them, or that. And you're still mindfully in your mind, like going through all kind of happenings and not being in total rest. When I think about resting my mind, it is today I'm going to do completely nothing but what I choose to do, right? And what I choose to do feels like rest because it's not pulling me to show up. It's not pulling me to grab a whole bunch of energy that makes me feel like I'm being pulled in several different directions. I just want to sit still. And so a restful day for me looks like, okay, anytime I have a very strenuous or just pull in something over the weekend, I'll always say on a Monday, I'm going to rest. And resting looks like I might not get up until 10 o'clock in the morning, but I'm going to sleep in, okay? And then I'm going to get up and I'm going to just sit there. I'm going to just sit there with my thoughts, with my feelings. I might do a little writing. I might take me a nap, you know what I'm saying, before 5 o'clock, just a 30-minute nap. And I literally set it on my phone to just close my eyes. And if I go off and actually do take a nap, that's my prerogative. That's what I do. But rest for me is doing nothing that causes me to feel pulled. So if I don't want to answer my phone, come on now. That's another thing. Am I knocking on your door? If I don't want to answer my phone, I won't. Nope, I'll put that phone on D&D real quick, okay? I don't want to have a long conversation, right? I don't want to be pulled to do anything, and that's my prerogative, and that's my right. Now, again, if it's an emergency, come on now, I'm going to jump up and I'm going to do what I need to do. But for the most part, I'm not being pulled physically, mentally, spiritually. I need, for me personally, I need to have a moment to be dormant and to come back to me. Because I know for me personally that if I had a whole week of being pulled, dragged, sought after, just needed in high velocity, I would be no good. I couldn't refuel myself. It is impossible. And this is a me thing. And if you are similar to myself, where you just, the conditions in which you work, how you thrive, the people around you, you're in the center, and you get pulled from every sense of every which way, right? Every direction. You are the type of person who needs a moment of rest. You got to reset and go back to yourself. And so ideally, what I'm saying to you is schedule out nuggets of space where you can just really breathe and function without being pulled, without having to be responsible for anything or anyone, and to let your mind just go off into outer space. I don't care if it lands on planet Venus. Allow yourself that. I think a lot of our attitudes, right? And when I say attitude, like nasty attitudes, it comes from the fact that we didn't rest. I often think about, even in parenting, right? Because I've had these moments, and I've seen and witnessed my mother have these moments as well, and not understanding and recognizing as a child that that's why my mother was feeling the way that she was. But then becoming an adult and having children, I was like, oh, that's the reason why my mother felt the way she did. But you know, you ever caught your parent, like, as soon as they get off of work, you asking them a question like, can I go here? Can you take me here? Blah, blah. And they catch your attitude. Well, baby, we didn't even give them time to rest. You know, they went from work to driving in their car. And listen, that driving in the car is a good little rest time, but it's not enough because you are going from one place to another. And my mother would instantly get an attitude. Like she just, and I didn't understand it. But now I understand because there was really no free space for my mother to just relax, release, and be in her peace. And so we often get disturbed when we go from one extreme to the next, thinking that we are about to rest down. And then there's another element of something that catches us off guard. And then that's when the attitude comes. So schedule moments where you just get to completely be out of tune with everything else and just come back into yourself. Rest is resistance. Not just a nap, not just sleep, but a full body refusal to live in burnout like it's a badge of honor. And we weren't made to run 24/7 like the apps on our phones. We need more than coffee and a keep it pushing mindset. And rest is holy. It's unplugging from productivity culture and choosing to be instead of always becoming, because your worth is not earned through exhaustion. You don't have to bleed yourself dry to prove that you are valuable. And rest is restoration. It's saying, I'm not available to pour from an empty cup today. It's canceling that meeting, closing the laptop, laying down the cape, and choosing peace, because grinding nonstop doesn't guarantee greatness. It guarantees depletion. And rest is clarity. The kind that only comes when you pause, when you sit still long enough to hear yourself think, and long enough to also hear God speak to you. You're not lazy for needing a break. You're human, and you don't have to earn your softness. So normalize rest. Normalize the Sabbath. Normalize saying, not today, I need to recharge, because rest isn't weak, it's wise. And the healed, whole, rested version of you needs to have it. Because if you don't know what it means to stop, all you ever do is keep going. I want y'all to sit and rest. I want y'all to know what that feels like. I don't want you to get to the point where you recognize that you are going into burnout and you burn out. Anybody who's ever experienced a crash, and I mean mentally, it takes you to a place where it takes longer to recover from it. That crash out will sit you down. Like literally, it will sit you down. It's a force that will have you grounded for so long that you become stuck in that cycle of staying down. And it's not the most positive kind of thing that you look forward to, because now your energy is all depleted and you can't pull from anything to get that energy back. You just got to kind of stay there for a while. So before you get to the burnout, before you get to the crash out, when you feel the proclivity of it coming, take your power back. Step back and say, okay, I'm almost at the cliff and I'm about to jump off. And I recognize that within myself, I need to rest, whatever rest looks like for you. But it can't be, again, picking up a laptop to do work on the back end. It's not making yourself available to people who always pull for you, right? It's not talking on the phone on hours and linked because your friend needs you. One of the things I need y'all to understand, y'all can still love people and also have some demand. So it's, hey, friend, today I can't talk, baby. I got a lot going on. Or you ain't even got to explain. I just can't talk today. I'm in my restful mode. They'll understand, I won't, And if you've always been a person for other people, if they don't understand, they were taking advantage of your availability. And that's all it was. If a person can't understand that you need rest and you need a moment for yourself, they get an attitude and cut you off, well, you already knew what your part in that connection, friendship, relationship, whatever was. Okay? Take the time to rest, because rest is not a luxury. It's really your right. And I would hate for any of us to get to the end of life, have regrets, and say, I didn't rest enough to take in and soak in life. I didn't rest enough to read important things that would have helped my personal growth. I didn't rest enough to pray, right? I didn't rest enough to see God's beauty on earth. I didn't rest enough to pour back into me. I didn't rest enough to write down my ideas and the things that I want for my life. I didn't rest enough. Even when I know I needed to rest, and I kept going. I missed every little nugget of beauty in life because I moved forward, because I thought moving forward would get me somewhere. But now here I am on my deathbed, and I can't relive any of those moments. So think about it. I know that was kind of, dramatic, but if you ask an older person who is facing death, they'll tell you that they wish they had taken more moments to rest. Resting is essential. It's not a luxury, my baby. It's your right. All right, till next time. Bye-bye.